That's action, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess we were rolling.
What a day.
Yeah, it has been a day.
Yeah. You were shooting skeet?
Well, I really didn't get to shoot that much. I was more on safety patrol and...
You on safety patrol?
Yeah, I know. It's not a great idea. But, yeah, you probably had a more full day than I did. You were getting ready to leave for a trip.
Man, I'm out. I'm going to Key West.
Yeah?
Wheels up, first flight out.
First flight out, 6 a.m.?
6:05.
Going through Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
And then what time do you land in Key West?
Like 12:25 or something. Perfect.
What time's Will get in?
He's driving down. He'll get down there before me.
Is he bringing the kayaks?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's cool is apparently mini season for the lobster diving down there got real murky water.
Yeah.
So, and I heard the conditions were a little rough. And usually my understanding, when people go down there to get lobster, I mean, they all pile in on that week or 3, 4, 5 days, and then they all got to fly home.
Yeah.
And so if they don't, the weather wasn't really great, that means more bugs for me.
Yeah, and I think, so when I was down there a couple weeks ago.
That's right. You were down there.
Yeah, I was down there 2 weeks ago, I think is what it is now. And the mini season, some people will probably hear this and tell me I'm completely wrong. 50-50 chance. The mini season was going out Thursday at midnight for like normal recreational people, right? And then I think it was the commercial season then went in the next day. So we were going to go out and go bully netting, which I was excited about because I'd never done before.
Right.
And they were explaining it to me, and it sounded right up my alley. But I guess it's now, yeah, it sounded awesome. But the commercial fishing season, what is now in, right?
Yeah.
I think.
We can go down there and jump in and go. So what we're going to try to do with the kayaks, so we're going fishing 4 days way out with Chef Rella, and we're going to get him on the mics. And but we're going to try to go a little further north with the kayaks and try to go hit spots that we've heard not a lot of, that they don't get a lot of traffic.
Are you going to put
Mangroves.
Are you going to put the kayaks on the boat and take them?
No, we'll go.
Just
we'll do
go from
kayaks
the
on
marina?
day. Yeah, on the days that we're not. Yeah. Well, we'll drive somewhere up in about 45 minutes, hour up the Keys. So for those that haven't been to Key West, you got Miami, Homestead, and you come down to Key Largo, and then Islamorada, and then you get into Marathon, which has a private airport. Asshole who just flew in on a private jet.
It was a great invite.
And then you go on down about another hour to Key West. So Key West is kind of where all the party action is, Duval Street and all that,
Yeah.
which is cool. And there's
Key West
great
is
fishermen.
fun. Going to see, Hemingway's house.
Yeah.
That's an awesome time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to stay more than 24 to 48 hours in Key West.
No, it's not healthy.
No.
Your liver appreciates that too.
Not healthy at all. And also, I think Marathon, in my opinion, I think is more of a fishing key.
Yeah. I mean, I think it all gets a lot of pressure.
Well, I just think more people go to Marathon to fish. If you're going to Key West, you're going to party.
And Islamorada, I think, gets a lot of the flats.
Yeah, there's a lot of fishing on Islamorada. I know a lot of people that go there for tarpon fishing or just any other type of flats fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it, as you went last year with us. On
Yeah,
this August
it was
trip.
awesome. That was a great invite to catch on that too.
You can get so many different
Well, I
fish.
remember last year we were where were we at last year? We were at Dust Bowl, like 3 nights before you were supposed to leave to go to Key West, or maybe it was even the night before. And I was like, "Wait, where are you going?" And then you told me all about it. And then that night I booked a flight, but you told me you were gonna be down there for 10 days, and I was like, "Dude, I can't go down there for 10 days." I was like, "I'll catch you guys." I mean, you can. I just it'd be hard to leave a business for 10 days. Other than, I mean, not saying you can leave the real estate stuff for 10 days, but it's easier to handle from your phone than it is to handle the store. And so I think I caught, the last 3 days of the trip?
You did.
And we had some...
I called you, and you're like, last minute down there. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I was all right.
That's spontaneity, right?
Yeah, I was like, let's go. So I think I flew into Key West, and then you can take an Uber.
Is that the first time you ever flew into Key West?
No, I'd been down there
a long time ago.
Yeah, I'd been down there a couple times, but I think it was the first time since I could really partake in like the fun of Key West.
Yeah.
I think I'd been down there with my dad in like high school and stuff like that. But because I flew in and you guys were out fishing, so I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And I was like,
nice. I like that part of
yeah,
fishing.
you can't get a hold of anyone.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, well, I don't even know where I'm going. So I told the Uber driver who didn't speak English,
Yeah, makes it more fun.
Right. It's all part of the experience. Yeah. I was like, I need to go to a marathon. And he goes, okay. And I was like, that's all I got. I was like, can you just take me to marathon? And then you told me,
sounds like a country song.
Yeah, you told me like you kept saying Superfish, and I was like, I think it's like Superfish Charters or something like that. And he's like, and I was like, buddy, your guess is as good as mine. I was like, let's just start going to marinas.
There you go.
Yeah, and I was like, hopefully on the way there, they will get service and then tell me where it is. And you guys did, luckily. And it was like, when you finally sent me a text message, I was 5 minutes away from where.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was
worked
great.
out great. We killed him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you go fishing with Jeff, and you'll hear. Hopefully, we get an episode put together with him. I mean,
yeah, no,
he's
a great
killer.
Yeah,
he's a killer. He's up in that tower. He's looking for birds. I mean, he's not just going through the motions. And
no, he's awesome. And he's from Marathon. Grew up there. Lived there. He has.
He gave you a name. Superfly.
Superfly, yeah.
Because we get 60 miles out in the Gulf, and we come across some pallet floating.
Yeah.
Which and we start reeling them in, and we had all this jackfish, and we had all that stuff piling in. We had some rainbow runners going around us.
Yeah.
And you go, I want to get my fly rod out.
Yeah, Jeff started laughing at me, and then the
best part was you forgot your
forgot
flies.
all my flies. I got all the way down there and brought all my stuff, and then realized I called Claire earlier. I just didn't want to tell you guys because I called her back at the hotel when I was unpacking, and I was like, hey, is there a fly box on top of one of the dog kennels by chance? And she goes, yeah, why? I was like, okay, just checking. Just wanted to make sure I knew where it was. And you happen to have one fly.
I had a box. I came to your store before I went, like I always do, and I get loaded up on what you tell me I need.
Yeah.
And you went through them all because fish were just not. I mean, that fly barely even hit the water.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was really, really cool. I mean, at one point, we were hooked up, all three of us. Yeah. I had one on a fly rod. You and Will were both hooked up. We only got one of the three all the way in because we had to pay the tax man.
Yeah, Shark got yours.
Yeah, Shark got.
Was, I would admit, probably the biggest one by maybe just that much.
Just that much.
A little bit.
But I was trying to strip my line in, and you can, if anyone out there is fly fish, they know they do not stand a chance of getting line in faster than a spinning reel.
Yeah.
On a when you're trying to beat a shark.
Well, you had mahi on.
Oh, it was great.
They're kind of known to fly around.
Yeah, it was super fun. But I guess for those who don't know who I am, since we were talking about the fly fishing stuff,
right, away.
My name is JP Hewitt. I'm also on the G7 Ranches real estate team, and then I own a store in Tulsa called the Gadget Company. We've been around since 1985. I've been here since 2015, but we do all high-end outdoors, obviously fly fishing, hunting, knives, clothing, etc.
You got the best gear in town.
I appreciate it. So we try. It's we kind of consider ourselves like a personal concierge service for anybody that walks in the door. So it doesn't really matter what you're looking for. We're going to try and help you find it. But so we. So Greg and I kind of met through the store. Actually, that's how I guess we kind of jumped over all that stuff and kind of went straight to marathon.
I don't like a script,
and we're not on the script. I was just trying to give a little background, I guess.
We're off the record, right?
Right? Yeah, and if anybody knows that, anybody knows Greg and I, they know our ADD will not allow us to stay on topic. So we'll probably get off this in a second. But Greg was a longtime customer and great supporter of the store, and kept telling me about all this. He goes, you got to get into real estate. You got to get into real estate. And I was like, man, I don't know what any of that means. I was like, I don't want to sell houses. I was like, that sounds not up my alley. Yeah, right. For me, right? Some people love it. It's up their alley. Just wasn't for me. And then he started explaining to me how all the land stuff worked. And I was like, oh, this could be perfect with the store and all the I was like, we talk about hunting and fishing every single day to people. Yeah. Why not be able to provide a full experience for them?
Yeah.
So
it's lifestyle.
Yeah. And then Greg goes, well, you got to pass a test. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm out. I was like, you mean you got to study? I was like, dude, no chance. But, I mean, that was, I think I took my test during COVID, like 2020 or 2021.
I can't remember when you got it.
Yeah, I was like 2020, 2021 is when I was actually trying to think of that the other day. Because all that stuff was one big blur.
Right.
That time. And, but yeah, I came into real estate when everything was like hot.
Well, this year, I mean, we're going into a downturn. You killed it. You're leading the team.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of go from, hey, I'm new to this to leading the way.
Yeah. I mean, I've been very fortunate, like just like what you said was going to happen, right? It was like we have a revolving door of people coming through here who are interested in what we have to offer.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a no-brainer, and I didn't understand it, but I was very thankful that you got me into it.
They share the passion. They
Yeah.
like the outdoor. I mean, if you come in this store, you enjoy outdoors to some degree, whether it's saltwater, whether it's duck hunting, whether it's deer hunting, whether it's just hiking, camping, whatever. I mean, you carry all the main brands.
Yeah.
How hard was it to put all the main brands together?
You know what's funny is like a lot of the I would say probably 50 to 75% is not fair. 60 to 50% of the brands we have now were not here. Now, like some of the main brands, right? Like Orvis, Filson, like Benchmade, household names were here, but we brought in like Sitka was a big one for us. Now we have
Sitka wasn't here before.
No, we weren't even allowed to pick them up. Dealership had to close for us to even get it because they protect territories. So you can only so many people can have them in certain areas. Yeti was barely here, just starting. We were one of the first stores in Tulsa to have Yeti back when Yeti was cool. Back when back when it was like the hot thing that back when the cups first came out, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, I gotta get one."
You know what? I remember, and I did this with Apple products. So I've been in the real estate business 18 years, and here comes this iPhone. I'm like, I'm not gonna own an iPhone. I got a great flip phone. Like, screw technology. And sure enough,
I'll beep the hell out of somebody.
Yeah, I got an iPhone.
Yeah.
And then Yeti comes out. Like, who in the hell would pay $300+ for a cooler?
Now it's like
Not
Kleenex,
me.
right?
But guess what? I don't know how many Yeti
Yeah, you have a
coolers.
ton.
So you're
That's
going
what
to get
everyone say that. And so when they first started, right? Like the two brothers who had it were, I think it was ICAST, which is like a huge fishing. It's like the largest trade show for fishing is ICAST. And I think at that time, or it may still be, is down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And they were selling them one by one out of the back of a pickup truck, like outside of ICAST.
I don't think I've ever really heard how Yeti. I mean, I've read.
Yeah,
up on it a little
I
bit.
don't want. I could probably butcher the story, but it's like two brothers, Roy and Ryan Cedars, and they wanted to come up. Originally, they were like doing it too. They wanted a cooler that you could also use as a fishing platform, like on the front of a boat, but something that could keep ice all day while they were on the water. And I think then they had the idea of like, because they're roto-molded, right? Like a kayak is.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what makes it more expensive and the insulation factor. But yeah, literally they started selling them like out of their truck one by freaking one at
Old school way. It's
ICAST.
like
And people were
knocking on
walking by.
doors.
Dude, people were walking by going, this is a joke. Like, I'm going to pay $400 for a cooler. Are you freaking nuts?
And they went, "Yes, you are."
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, right? And then all of a sudden people started getting them and seeing like their ability on it. And I mean, now they're selling chairs, backpacks, go boxes.
They got a brand.
Yeah.
Once you got a brand, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
almost.
And then it just shows if you develop that brand name for yourself and everyone knows it, and then you just over-engineer the hell out of it.
You think people, once they get a brand, one thing they struggle with is staying true to the brand? I don't know. I'm not saying Yeti
I
necessarily.
think you're 100% right. I think there's brands out there that I don't want to say sold out, but I think that they've lost their path of where they started and what got them there. And Yeti did that in the beginning too. They opened up way too many dealers. I mean, they opened up anybody and everybody that wanted Yeti, you can have it. Sure, you carry it. And then they ran into that problem of, oh shit, now we got to supply all this product to all these people we opened up. And if we can't, then they couldn't do it. Then nobody could get it.
Right.
So over the past like 2-3 years, they've closed thousands of stores.
Really?
Yeah, closed them, took their dealerships away. And so
Protecting it.
yeah, exactly. They were like,
You get big, it's hard to protect
yeah,
the
you want to
culture.
be that cool. You want to be that cool club, right? Like that niche group that people want to be a part of. And
Right.
it's not. You don't want to say. I don't want to say exclusive because it's inclusive to everyone. Anyone can come get one, but
Right.
it's almost the quote unquote cool kids club of who gets to carry it and a right representation of us. I mean, shoot, we had it, and then there was a coffee shop right down the street from us that they let pick it up, and it was like, what?
Ooh, that gets a
And
little
so it
busy.
was just like very interesting, right? I mean, like then I would go into that coffee shop, and I don't even drink coffee, but I would just go to look to see what they had as far as Yeti stuff, and it was like they would have the same shit with just dust on it because nobody was going there to buy it, and also at the time, still you had to explain to somebody why a $300-$400 cooler was worth it.
So let me ask you this: how did the COVID impact your retail business?
It was the
I
best.
mean, we're in Tulsa, we're in Midwest, so we didn't get nailed like a lot of the coastal markets where they shut everything down and all that crap.
Yeah.
And I mean, Oklahoma stayed pretty user friendly still.
Yeah, I would. So COVID was. I don't know if it was COVID or if it was like, since it was like so I bought the store in 15. COVID, happened in 20. So, excuse me. It kind of took us, 5 years to turn around. Not turn around. It was just like we got the store and it was like we had to kind of rebrand some stuff, right?
Yeah.
In 2020, it was like crazy. It was our best year we had to date at that time, right? Like it was, sales like doubled. And I don't know if it was
survival, like
it was unbelievable. Yeah, it was like
matches,
and I think half of it too was everyone was going to do more outdoor activities. Like they were going to travel to like go camp or go take a fishing trip they hadn't taken, or they're taking that road trip with the family that they hadn't done. And they were like, I want to fly fish. I want to go do this. I want to go do that. Or they were starting to, like, everyone got in their head, like, I need to support my local businesses during this time. And I think then those
shipping was a huge issue.
You're right, and we couldn't get stuff. But then they were finding us, and then they were like, "Oh shoot, I really like them." So then they continued to then stay on. I think we gained a ton of different new customers. I know we did in 2020 that are still great customers to this day.
That's what I love about the boutique aspect of your business.
Yeah,
and we deal with that in our land business. But I go to one of these big brand stores. You're just another number coming through the door. Now, of course, they don't ever want you to that's not their marketing, right? But that's what it is. They don't really know what they're selling.
They're waiting for you at the register to check you out.
Yeah, and it's just another
working for the
job
discount
for them. But you come in here, even the young guys you bring in, college kids that are working for summer, or interns and things like that. You can tell they're passionate about the products you have, whether it's the cool knives, the backpacks. You carry a lot of great brands, and some big and some local.
And I've told all of them, it's very easy to just genuinely give a fuck. Literally, as bad as that sounds, it's like it doesn't take much.
That's sad that that's not every day anymore.
You know what I mean? It's like I want you to care and connect with these people. I always tell them, I'm like, you are not just a checkout person. You're going to be an inventory person. You're going to be an ordering person. You're going to be a customer sales expert. You're going to be the janitor. You're going to take the trash out. You're going to do everything, right?
Yeah.
But these people are making a choice and an effort to come in to see us. I want them to get the best experience, even if they don't buy anything. I want them to walk out and go, that was enjoyable. Yeah. I want them to feel like they were shopping with their friend. It's not high pressure sales. It's not anything. I want them to feel like they got some knowledge while they were here on some products that maybe or maybe not they were not interested in.
Yeah.
But then we're thinking, dang, that was easy. That was fun.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool.
Well, and they like hearing the story. It's like when we sell a ranch or whatever, these buyers want to know, well, what's the story to the property? What did the sellers do before? What was it doing 100 years ago?
Right.
The more of a authenticity, the story, that's part of the process.
Yeah.
I've come in here and I'm like, it's not just a knife. And what I really like is there's never been a time where I've come here and I talk to somebody who's working here, and I go, "What's the story on this?" And they go, "Well, I don't know. It's a knife."
It's a knife.
But I get that all the
sharp.
time at those big chains.
Yeah.
And that's kind of goes back to when you get big, you lose culture, you lose control.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying big is bad. I'm just saying if you're an entrepreneur trying to grow something, you're a Yeti back 20 years ago, whenever they got started, or any of these brands. You got to keep in mind when you're building your business, and hopefully you get successcul. That's the whole point, right? Unless you want to be a starving artist, which that's cool too, right?
I always tell people we're not running a nonprofit.
Right. We got, you only got so many hours a day that you're going to dedicate to making a business. But when you build that business, I encourage, try to build that in a way where you don't lose control of that boutique, that customer, that independent, dialed in.
And you're 100% right. That's how I look at it, because we've had several people ask us, they're like, "Hey, have you thought about franchising? Do you want to go? Can you open one in this market? Can you open one in this market?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll open it, but I'm not running it." And there has to be whoever is going to own it. They got to be there every day running it. Like, I'm on the real
restaurant,
right? I'm on the real estate team with you, but how many meetings do I make versus I don't make because, or I got a Zoom call here because I office out of the store. It's important to me.
Yeah.
And so, but luckily I have that ability with the team to be able to do that. And that's great. But anyone in a small, it's your baby, right? Like, it is, sleep, breathe your small business.
Yeah.
You can't expect other people to, nobody's ever going to want it as much as you if it's yours. And it's just, I mean, I guess I've always known that, but like as I've grown as the business has grown and everything, and, you know, I've tried to do some stuff where I've stepped back a little bit and then wasn't in it as much, not wasn't involved, but, you know, let go of some stuff. It was like, man, like that isn't the way I want it done. And not saying any of my guys weren't doing it right or not caring. It was just not the way that I wanted it done. So
Right.
I either had to explain it and teach it better, or I had to do it, you know? And I think there is a balance where you do have to let go of some stuff, or else you're going to drive yourself crazy. But like,
Which is part of it.
yeah, I mean, you got to help again, and then you got to help them grow too, right? I mean, and everyone knows it, or not everyone, but I mean, in retail, right? Like the turnover rate is extremely high, right? Like guys don't, or whoever employees aren't going to be here forever.
Right.
You know, I would love them to be here to make my life a whole lot easier.
Right.
But it's just the nature of it. Same thing in the restaurant industry, right? Like, but so you got to help train them, and you hope that you're setting them up for whatever it is, the next thing that they want to do. And hopefully they learn something with you that, you know, is going to be a good reason. Maybe they talk to somebody else that is looking for that opportunity and they want to get in there. And so, you know, you hope you help these guys get to where they want to go as well.
What's the biggest thing you struggle with being a small business owner?
Hours in the day. It's just, you know, that, and then the, man, that's a good question. Cause sometimes it's just time. And, well, I would say probably too, me personally, I am not the most organized individual, and I know that about myself. So there's probably a more efficient way to do some things that I do, but in a more time-effective manner.
Right.
And I think for me, that's things that I struggle with, are like, you know, like I'll be talking to the guys that work here about one thing, and then all of a sudden I'll see a fucking squirrel about something else going on in the store. Then all of a sudden I'll completely change topics on them and then start talking about that. And I can see the look on their face like, what the?
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and it's
I can
kind of
relate to
like,
that.
I think for me, that's something I struggle with personally, is just getting across my message and staying on that topic.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And then I would say another thing that we struggle with as a small business is like wanting to grow, but figuring out the best way to do it. Because I don't want to grow too fast, too quick, and it kills you.
Yeah.
Because if you try and take on too much, then you're going to get in trouble.
No, that's why I never took G7 bigger than it is. You know, I've been in this 18 years. I've been affiliated with a brokerage called
I always
Baker's,
wondered
like,
that.
Yeah.
Because we could have 20-something agents if you really wanted it to be.
Yeah, you could. I could probably have 50.
Right.
You know, and I see companies getting started, and their whole mission is get big fast.
Yeah.
And I would rather get rich
Chase
slow.
the dollar.
Get rich slow.
That's what everyone does, right? Chase the dollar.
Chase the dollar. Hurry up, get big, get fast, and the foundation is loose. It's like building a house, and the foundation's not even, you know.
Do you
hard.
feel like you would lose what you've done to build it by just, like, you could just bring on some rando agent?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've always been extremely, at least since I've been there.
We try, and you know, and it's hard because.
And not saying that people, like, that certain people wouldn't make it on our team. It's just, I mean, I know that I've watched you just say yes or no to people, like, and it's not, it's like, oh shit, like, you got to really, like, you got to fit the mold, you got to fit the team, you got to fit in with everybody. Yeah. It's not like Greg's just saying, you're on G7, you're on G7.
And you get surprised sometimes, but ultimately, you really just want to protect that culture. You want to protect, you know,
it's your brand that you've built.
Right, yeah. And that can be easily... You know, reputation can take a lifetime to build and destroyed in 5 seconds.
It can be
and,
done.
And the liability is a big thing. And we live in a world where people just want to sue everybody to sue everybody. And you get in a jam like that, it's like,
know that.
God.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not,
yeah.
you know, fortunately, knock on it, we can eat some wood over here.
We
But yeah, I mean, we've stayed out of the hot seat, you know, all these years. And I think the reason why we stay out of the hot seat is because we are trying to do the best we can to pay attention. And that's what happens to groups to get big fast is they bring on so many agents and they don't provide the educational resources to make sure that they're dialed in. And so they just go, well, I got in this situation. What now?
Right.
Well, it might be too late now.
And they kind of lose sight of what the G7 brand was, like how it was founded and what it was started for and by who, which is you.
Right.
I mean, when I tell people all the time, like we have the G7 Ranches sign up here in the store, right?
Yeah.
And I start talking to people about like, they're like, oh, you do real estate as well. And obviously, you know, that's the conversation we want, right? Like bingo. Oh, do I? Let's talk about it. Yeah. And then, well, like they'll be like, oh, like where do you work or what team are you on or anything like that? And I'll say, well, G7 Ranches at Caldwell. They're like, oh, that's Greg Ganzkow, right? And I'm like, yeah, it is, which is awesome, right? That's
the
what
fact
you
they
want.
can pronounce my last name is pretty, and that's one reason why.
Yeah, no shit.
You know, you look at a lot of real estate teams; they'll have their name. It's the Greg Ganzkow team or whatever. And I was like, I grew up with that last name, and I'm proud of it. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but good night. Talk about a name to butcher. And I just went, G7 sounds pretty easy.
Yeah, G7's great.
Yes. It
So actually, though, I don't think I've ever asked you that. Where did that? Like, I know. Okay, obviously, you literally just said that, but I get G's for Ganzkow, but where the hell's the 7?